let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Get to our favorite section. It's Wexley Spills the Tea. Fill me up, baby. What we got?
All right, it's going to be some just good old Southern sweet tea tonight. But let's start off with some WWE news like we always do. And, man, a horrible Raw this week. It had the second lowest viewership of all time, and it was just a long 3 hours with like a whole lot of nothing they tried to stretch out. And I definitely didn't sit through that bullshit, but all the highlights and everybody else who actually sat through it, they said it fucking sucked, and I can just go ahead and take their word for it because, goddamn.
Yeah, I mean, I only saw highlights, and the highlights didn't look that bad. I mean, I'm continuing to follow the Cody and Rollins vibe. I'm glad that they're like giving them a long run, and it's not just like a couple matches. That's nice, but really, I don't care about anything else. So, yeah, I just watched a couple like YouTube highlights of that. That looked good. Everything else was probably trash because that's Raw.
Pretty much. I watched a couple highlights myself. The Edge stuff is interesting to me. I won't say that I think it's good yet. It's interesting. I'm waiting to see where it goes.
And what I've heard is not really the content. Like, the storylines weren't that bad. Like, the wrestling wasn't bad. It's just they tried to stretch out a short show into 3 hours, which is already fucking hard to sit through 3 hours anyway. And it was, like, heavy on the promos, heavy on the segment, like, just hyping up other shit. And, like, dude, we see that every week. Like, if you go to a Raw live, during the commercials, that's all you see is just the same bullshit over and over. And it's like, dude, I can understand. Like, if you were in the arena, dude, it would have been really hard to sit through 3 hours. Last time Raw came to Nashville, I left after, like, the hour 1.5 mark or some shit.
Yeah, just worn out, tired of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
saw
man.
Jeff Hardy, saw Goldberg, and that was good enough for me.
Yeah, they got to do something about that, man. It's rough.
Man, so other kind of WWE rumor going on here is that possible return of Bray Wyatt this Sunday at Hell in a Cell. He's been posting some cryptic tweets, and
I think that's the best fit, man. I really do think it's the best fit. I think that's, I mean, it's the only place that he can be the Fiend, and I think that that's just a vibe that he really wants to continue to do. Hopefully, having him do his like little cinematic thing, the movie thing, and then kind of just getting out and living in the wilderness or wherever, doing his mountain man thing or his farming man thing or whatever. Hopefully it recharges batteries. But I mean, the more I think about it, it's like, I mean, there's not space for him in AEW, and I don't think Impact could really pull off what he wants to do at that level. I think WWE
not at all. They don't have that production value.
Yeah, I think WWE is the best option for him. I hope that he comes back. I think that would be great. I think that there's I think WWE is getting better. So yeah, having Wyatt back would be incredible.
I'm hoping
pretty sick boost.
I'm hoping that some of the stuff with bringing Cody in and like letting him keep some of his own creative, cut his own promos, keep his music, that kind of thing, might lead to Wyatt having a little bit more creative freedom with that character. Yeah. And hopefully we don't get like burned Fiend, red light bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you could you could always do that kind of like returning like a new vamped legacy with like kind of Cody leading the helm. I mean, I feel like Wyndham is a legacy wrestler and it would work out well, especially if he just came back as like the kind of Hawaiian shirt Bray. I feel like that would still work. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if he does come back, it's going to be the Fiend, even though I'm still Hawaiian shirt Bray all the way. That's still my favorite version. But yeah, man, what else we got?
Some funny shit that I'm sure, not funny as in good, but just funny shit we saw over the past week on internet from Nikkita Lyons, WWE NXT star. Good idea. She decided to post a little tribute video for Memorial Day. It said something about the troops. And that would have been okay. You could put a patriotic song, Proud to be an American, go classic. But she posted some song that was like a patriot rap song that talked about storming the Capitol on the lines. And it was just like, what are you doing here? Yeah, that was literally the lyrics of the song. Like, it said something about storming the Capitol, and people were just like, what? Like, are you serious? And she
just judging by just judging by her, I feel like that was probably a mistake in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's trying to cover her mistake.
Then the thing is, like, people were like, what the fuck? Storming the Capitol, are you serious? What is this all about? Like, what? Self-burial? And that, maybe it was just like you said, a mistake, but then she doubled down. The artist who does the song, like, posted, like, commented on it, and she was like, yeah, I support you, one love, 100%. And I was like, Well, all right then. She's doubling down on this shit, just like ultimate self-burial. Obviously, it doesn't really matter in WWE. Like, as long as like the rest of the roster is okay with it, as long as she doesn't get Jackson Reichard, whatever. But I mean, I feel like that's just a detriment to her fan base, and like
she's real young too. She's like 22 or something like that.
Like, yeah. I mean, most wrestling fans ain't down for that shit. There's the weird fucking internet fucks who are openly racist, seemingly to be here on the internet lately, but or just whatever. But damn, that's kind of just ridiculous. But self-burial 100%, which is funny. I made a little tweet about it, a self-burial, and I actually got a lot of likes, which, I mean, it's just funny because why would you do that to yourself? It just doesn't make any sense.
She's gonna be fine, man. She's going to be fine. It doesn't really matter.
People care more about her ass than her politics. I saw someone was like, she's MAGA, and I'm gonna
honestly,
eat that.
dude, it's pro wrestling. So to me, it's like, I don't really care what your politics are as long as you don't suck in the ring and your promos are decent. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't care. Like, you can have your own opinion. Like, I feel like the opinion of a pro wrestler, like either way, is not like going to make or break my like political opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not fucking with her personally, but I saw someone was like, if she's MAGA, then I'm eating her ass with a MAGA hat on. I'm like, dude, you guys are lost in the fucking sauce, baby. Straight up
lost in the sauce for sure. What else we got on the docket there?
Who is also lost in the sauce as of lately is our boy Matt Cardona, out with a bicep injury. Torn bicep, has to get surgery, and
bummer.
I'm wondering if this NWA pay-per-view is going to be in jeopardy. It's going to be the Always Ready. He actually made a statement recently like, it doesn't matter what's going to happen, I'm going to be there. But there's no way if he has a torn bicep getting surgery, he's going to be able to defend the title. I mean, he will probably be there in some capacity. Maybe he'll sub in Kurt Hawkins, Brian Myers.
Yeah, I mean,
do it for him.
Do some kind of tag team dealy wheelie, and maybe like a 6-man or something with Chelsea Green, and he'll go in there and throw a punch or two or something like that. I mean, by that time, I feel like as long as he's not like taking any bumps on it, he'll probably be okay. And He'll fit. I mean, dude, he's this really smart guy. He's gonna figure out a way to make it work for sure.
Something will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Speaking of other pay-per-views, kind of on the indie scene, been rumored that ROH Death Before Dishonor is going to be happening soon here around July 23rd in Lowell, Massachusetts, and it's kind of like a not anything official, but lots of apparently backstage AEW people have been talking about it happening, and New Japan even changed their date to a show they had the same weekend to a different date. And that kind of makes sense because, the New Japan, ROH, AEW kind of working with each other. They don't want to they don't want to step on each other's toes or anything. So I'm ready for Ring of Honor to come back in a full capacity. And I think the acquisition is complete as of now. So maybe we'll get some announcements soon. What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, I still think it's going to just be a YouTube thing. I think either Elevation or just regular Dark is going to become the Ring of Honor show. I think that setup they have in Orlando is going to become Ring of Honor. And that's fine. I think that's a good thing. I think that they need another brand because they have way too much talent. I mean, it's painfully apparent at this point that they signed way too many people. And I mean, yeah, I mean, I want to see Ring of Honor work. But you're right. I think that most fans are probably like me, where it's like, I mean, we're seeing these belts on AEW and that's great, but it's like either shit or get off the pot. You know what I mean? It's like you can't just keep running Ring of Honor inside AEW and calling it Ring of Honor. It just doesn't. It feels weird. I mean, even if you make it the developmental or whatever, you just got to make it separate. And I hope that they do that sooner than later, because literally every week that goes by that Ring of Honor's championships are on AEW TV, to me, it devalues them as their own brand title. Like it makes it mean less. So yeah, I mean, hopefully it works out. I really do hope that Ring of Honor gets like a regular TV show, and like that would be awesome too. I would prefer them to literally just not ever have those stars cross brand at all, unless it's at like one pay-per-view a year and like call it Forbidden Door or whatever. I really hope they keep it separate, but we'll see.
What's odd to me right now is that out of the Ring of Honor titles that we see on TV, Gresham got injured, so the world is kind of out of it at the moment.
Right.
But like Samoa Joe and FTR, if you're looking at people who are holding Ring of Honor titles right now, that's kind of a strong bid for AEW in terms of the talent that they sign and the amount of money that they're paying for them.
Yes.
To have those guys be in those seats is a strange look, which makes me wonder what they're going to do with it.
Well, if they make it brand exclusive, I mean, you can build a brand and at least a 1-hour weekly show off FTR and Samoa Joe alone.
Dude,
I mean, you can do that easy. So, yeah,
See,
I agree.
I don't
And
think
Wheeler
they're
Yuta,
gonna
right?
go to
I mean, he's
a
still the
straight
pure
YouTube
championship,
show.
yeah. Yeah.
Yuta's a pure, yeah.
Like I know you said you think they're gonna do a YouTube show, but if they're gonna like be selling pay-per-views, I feel like Tony Khan's got something else up his sleeve. Even if it's like how it used to be Sunday night on fucking channel WB58. Like,
Well, they also have True TV under the Turner brand.
they do have True TV, and the only thing that comes on True TV is what, Impractical Jokers?
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
pretty
I mean, and like Adam ruins everything and some shitty thing.
And that other, like the Cabanero effect, which is like
Yeah.
straight bullshit. Like, okay, first I'll say this here. Anybody who watched this is the Cabanero effect and they're like genuinely surprised, like, dude, fuck off and don't listen to this shit. That you're a lower form of life. But let's continue moving on with the news. Some news for AEW. Adam Cole and Jeff Hardy were not on Dynamite this week due to injury, even though they were both advertised for the big 6-man match. And apparently Hardy, going into the match that we're going to cover here that he had with his brother against the Young Bucks, he was already in really bad shape going into the match. Like physically, like that Darby match really fucked him up. And
Yeah.
it took him a minute, like, as we'll get into it, like you could tell it took him a minute to get going. And like, dude, he needs to just take a break.
Yeah.
I love the dude. He needs to just take a break to heal himself up a little bit, do a few less swanton bombs, get that back at least feeling all right. So for that final push of this last run, he won't be just completely fucked up.
Not to mention, he's the type of dude who can make appearances without being physical, and it'll totally work. Like,
Dude,
he can definitely like save his bump card some. You know what I mean?
Dude, people love Jeff. Like, dude, it's because people love Jeff Hardy. He's one of those wrestlers that connects with the fans like on a different level. Just seeing Jeff Hardy, people are just like, dude, fuck. Can you think of any wrestling fan who just doesn't like Jeff Hardy?
No.
Some
Dude,
old
exactly.
school people.
And if you don't like Jeff Hardy, it's probably a fuck off, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, listen, I hope that he's okay. I mean, honestly, like, it's shitty to say this, but it's like when you've had those kind of issues for so long, no matter what happens, even if I'm sure it probably is just normal injury or whatever, but it's hard to not be like, could it be something else? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because it's like there's certain responses that aren't like, that didn't seem like physical ailments, and I guess we'll get to that like later when we talk about the show. But yeah, I hope he's well. I mean, maybe he just needs some time off and to recharge his batteries and like rest some things. I really hope that's what it is. But yeah, like you were saying, everybody loves Jeff Hardy. Nobody wants to see him in a bad situation, period, whether it's with a mental situation or a physical situation. So yeah, man.
And it very well could be a combination of both.
Could be a combination of both. You're right. So yeah, I mean, we all wish Jeff Hardy well. Hopefully it works out and we see him on TV again soon.
We love you, Jeff. And speaking of a bad situation that ended up turning up into a good situation is fucking MJF. So over the weekend, we had all the speculation. Is he going to show up and all this bullshit? And either it was a shoot that ended up getting turned into a work, or it was a work the whole time. But either way, he cut the our version of the pipe bomb on fucking Monday night. I'm just used to saying on fucking Wednesday night. And goddamn, and the way they did it, cutting to commercial, just like not mentioning, like, dude, so good. And he fucking killed it. It's MJF. And I know you were the whole weekend were like, it's a fucking work, you marks, and don't work yourself into a shoot. Much love, HH.
Hey, I want to make sure that this gets on any kind of video format that we have, whether it's TikTok or YouTube. I told you so. I told you so. Like you were. First of all, how does Dave Meltzer still have a job in the Twitter age? Like how many times does he have to be
saying stupid shit recently?
So like ridiculously wrong and like blatantly obvious that he's just like coming up with what he thinks might happen, and it's kind of logical. So when he's right like 30 or 40% of the time, people are like, oh yeah, you know, that makes sense. This guy knows whatever. He doesn't know shit. He's an idiot. Like this okay. If you still truly believe that the MJF, Tony Khan, or AEW situation is a shoot, you are an idiot. Period. Like there is no way around that. I don't want to mince my words. If you believe that MJF and AEW are at odds and all of this is a shoot, you are an idiot. End of discussion. Like it's genius, by the way. It's really, really good. Like
tremendously
it's probably the best work shoot in our lifetime. You know, depending on where you stand on the Montreal Screwjob, it could be the greatest work shoot of all time. It could be. And I do think the promo's phenomenal. I don't think that any of those executives were ever supposed to be at the forum. I think that Tony set that up to the fans to make it seem like these networks would care. By the way, all the stuff was beeped. So the networks that they're on, they didn't cross any lines. They didn't cross any lines. I mean, it's a live show. So, like, I don't think that the network would really care about that, especially considering it's, I mean, Warner's, their bread and butter is HBO. So all these, and today it's like all these headlines about how like, oh, well, you know, MJF really pissed off these network. Bullshit.
They took him off the roster page immediately too, which I'm like, the A sign number one that it's a work. It's a work. No way around. It's really good. And I don't want, like when I say that, I don't want it to feel like I'm trying to devalue the angle because it's really good.
It's
really good.
It's literally the best fucking angle since I've been watching wrestling, like that I can remember.
He's the best. This might be a way to turn him babyface, actually. This might be a way to turn him babyface.
They started cheering for him. That he got some cheers after he started cutting his shit. So
this could be it. We could have been thinking about this wrong the whole time. We could have been thinking, you know, he's gonna be the greatest heel ever. Dude, he might be their Stone Cold. It's very possible, and he could wrestle that way too. We'll get to that. I could see
Punk turning heel, MJF turning babyface, and fucking taking the belt.
I'm pretty damn 100%. Sure that's where they're going, dude. I mean,
I love that. I love it. I agree. I think we're all in agreement here. That's what they should do for sure. No doubt about it. That's money all day, every day. And it's super easy. I mean, CM Punk can easily be this generation's $1 million man if he wanted to be. He really could be that guy and be believable. I'm hyped. I am hyped. What else we got in the news? Is there anything left on the docket?
Only other really big thing AEW wise here at the end is we got Tanahashi versus CM Punk announced for Forbidden Door, which is it's not everybody wanted Okada, but dude, Tanahashi versus Punk, it's gonna be a banger. I mean, they're both fucking awesome. They're both legends in their own right.
He's gonna be on the show.
Oh, I mean, no, Okada's gonna fight Hangman Page. That's what I've been hearing.
I don't think so at all. I don't think so. I think it's Okada and like Danielson.
Give me that. Give me Okada literally versus like 8 or 9 different people I can name on the AEW roster, and I'd be okay with it.
I think it's going to be Okada and Cole. That's what I think.
Okada and Cole, dude, a banger right there. And maybe we'll see another big match because AEW has also announced in September they're coming back to Arthur Ashe Stadium for the Grand Slam again, which you know there's going to be a big matchup for that. There's got to be some big headlining main event. I mean, maybe we'll get an MJF Punk. Maybe we'll get a. You never know.
I think MJF Punk is a one and done scenario on a pay per view. I mean, maybe a rematch on pay per view down the line. They're not doing that on free TV.
Okay.
No. When I will say this too, whether it's MJF or not, whenever CM Punk drops this title, he will be off TV for a while.
Oh yeah, he might retire, might go to coaching, might do something else.
Yeah, I mean, when I said he's the $1 million man, I wasn't. I mean, I think as a person, that's kind of who he is. I think that more than 50% of the reason why Punk is doing what he's doing now is not for the fans; it's for the paycheck, and that's okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that at all. I'm just saying that, like, I think the money, as long as the money is there, I think he's probably got 3 or 4 years left, right? So, like, but I think he'll probably take 6 to 8 months off, come back, maybe be a heel for a while, lose the belt. Take 6 months off, come back, massive babyface again, just because you've been off TV for 6 months. That's it, But we'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell.
Well, I think that is about it for the news. So it looks like it's time to get into the meat and taters of this show for Double or Nothing.